folks, how you doing out there today? Well, we made it to White Oaks. It was a beautiful drive. We made it to this little miners museum. It's a pretty cool little walk through. It's free to do. So if you're in White Oaks, I encourage you to. This is one of the buildings I encourage you to go through if you're looking for something to do or some history to see. Um, so we're looking over here at the town right now. It's the Brown Mercantile to the left, and that's the main street. Had to do a voiceover on this. It was so windy this day. So, anywho, enjoy the walkthrough. Back in time. So this is one of the first rooms. This would have been a bedroom, it looks like. Hopefully you can see and it's not too dark in here. But this is kind of how a bedroom would have been set up back then. It's very cool what they've done here. The walls are just lined with pictures and old artifacts. We've got probably a period stove that would have been from back then, an old potbelly. There's a old miner's lamp right there. If you've never seen one that's complete. Looks like the box had even come in, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I didn't notice this the last time. It's got some old advertisement books here. It says spray pumps and nozzles. And yeah, some books from the time that you would have read, little pamphlets. So here's some cool little articles about the town. You guys can pause and read these if you want. And I'll read a little bit, maybe off the top page here. It says, there is some disagreement about how tough a town White Oaks really was. Someone said the forces, good and evil, never did battle it out in the saloons or in the streets of White Oaks. But there were incidents. Pat Garrett was sheriff in the early 1880s and often came to White Oaks. And William Bonney, better known as Billy the Kid, rode into town on occasion on November 28th, 1880. And his friends William Wilson and David Rudaball rode into White Oaks, driving ahead of them a bunch of stolen horses. The outlaws drove the horses into corrals in Sam Derrick's livery stable. Their title to the animals was defective, but this deficiency could be overlooked in the bustling gold mining camp. The Kid was chased by the White Oak posse to Great House Trading Post. Sorry. It was there that White Oaks Deputy Jim Carlisle was killed. His buddy was brought back to White Oaks for burial. So yeah, you guys can read through the rest of that. Pause and look. There's another one here, the story of White Oaks. I'm not going to read through it. It's kind of hard. There's a glare on it, so it's kind of hard for me to see some of it. But you guys read through it. It kind of talks about how White Oaks was put on the map. It's an interesting story. It kind of talks about how in 1879, John Wilson discovered gold in the nearby Baxter Mountain. And it was interesting because here it's mentioned about he was on the run from the law and wanting to get away from the Texas sheriff. He sold his interest in the newly made prospector friends, Charles Baxter and John V. Winters, for 2 ounces of gold worth $38 and a pistol, and headed out. John V. Winters filed the first claim to this discovery with his partners, and he found the Home State Mine, which made him a very wealthy man. So when this town started out, it was a tent city. Lots of tents everywhere, and then gold was struck in many different places. And yeah, it became a town with, I think I read about 2,500 people. It was once the second biggest city in New Mexico. Santa Fe would have been the biggest at that point. But yeah, so if you guys are ever in this area, be sure and check this out. The walls are just lined with pictures of what it looked like and some history, good history. And then over here we got the table, how the settings would have looked back in the day. The old stove they would have used back then. Later on in this video, you'll see I go up to the schoolhouse and they have the original stove. This is probably original to this house too, because most of this stuff is. But they have the original one. It's a lot like this stove, and it's still in the kitchen up there. This would have been, looks like the kids' room. Again, the walls are lined with cool pictures that people have put together. And this might have been some of the little toys and stuff they would have had back in the day. Really cool. And back here, looks like I don't know what this would have been back here for sure. A little pantry maybe. Not quite sure. But very cool nonetheless. All right. Be sure to stop in here if you're going through the Carrizozo area. We'll go back. There's a tool shed. We'll look through it. It's back here. You can see some of the old Victorian houses, the houses that set up there on the hill. Those are original to the beginning of this town after it got prosperous. And this is the old tool shed. So you have some different little artifacts in here from back in the day. That looks to be an old drill down there. That's drill steel there for the mine. That's really cool. I've been here before and didn't notice that somehow. See, you come back and you learn different things, or you notice different things. There's some old horseshoes and stuff on the back. An old ore bucket there. Old grinder. Does anybody know what those are in that wheelbarrow there? Is those cannonballs? Well, put it in the comments if you think those are cannonballs. And we got an old plow here. And then those are some saddlebags for a meal right there. Pretty cool. Old lantern. So, to answer the question, those are balls for a ball mill. Those would go in a cylindrical container, and it would turn and turn with the ore in there and pulverize it. Those are what those are. They're often mistaken as cannonballs, but they are not cannonballs. So folks, we're getting ready to go to the old schoolhouse here in White Oaks. You can see it says circa 1895 this would have come about. So we'll pull up in here. It might be open. They used to be able to go through this. I remember one time we were up here, it was closed though.
Yeah, I know. I remember that too.
Yeah, looks like it is.
Awesome.
So, okay. All right, so folks, we're in the White Oaks School, old schoolhouse, circa 1895 to 1947. This is the kitchen area right now that we're in. This is the original stove that would have been cooked on. This school would have been K through 12. It's a really cool find. The curator told us that this building could be rented out for different events. They do a donation to view this museum. It's a museum you can go through. We've been up here before, and we didn't catch them here. Today we were lucky to catch them, the curator said. So he's a wealth of knowledge, a kind man. So yeah, make sure you come up here. These old buildings, they're far and few anymore, but it's been kept in its original state. It's an historical place for New Mexico. It's one of the only two-story schools basically left in at least New Mexico from the era. So, yeah, that's the original, he said. It's the original one they would have used.
The big benches. I don't think we have any more. There was only two of them.
Like the benches on against the wall?
No, the school desk benches.
So this would have been one of the original schoolrooms. All this is original, but this would have been one of the schoolrooms. Again, K through 12 would have attended here. See, this town here, Revention, was one I was wanting to go to, but it is now all on private land, so we couldn't get to it. But we will be going to the Hickorilla Schoolhouse and Ghost Town here in a little bit. All this stuff is from White Oaks that's in here, whether it's ranching memorabilia or the old school desk. We're all from this school. Old war cart there, or not cart, but bucket. Look at that awesome carbide tin. Looks like this is a still. That's pretty cool. That is a whiskey still for sure. Old kitchen stove. Old phonographs are rarely seen anymore. My grandma used to have one. I'd play with it, put old records on it. So today we're at the White Oak Cemetery, and since we're videoing White Oaks, we thought it'd be fitting to do the cemetery. There's some pretty important people that you might know from the movie Young Guns in here. So we'll go through and find those graves, and kind of, I don't know if y'all have ever been through a cemetery that had wooden tombstones. It's pretty crazy. That's how old and far they go back into the 1800s. You'll see bunches of them. You can already see we're walking up on rows of them here. Excuse me. Here is a very old tombstone from 1891. Born in St. Louis, Missouri. Died at the age of 37. That's young. Okay. Let's make our way on down here. Again, there's just row after row. Yeah. It'd be cool to get on, sometimes you can get on cemetery, there's like a cemetery list place online that you can find who's all buried in here, even the unnamed sometimes. So I'll have to check that out. So this one here's one you'll recognize from Young Guns. James W. Bell even told us a story here. He was basically murdered in 1881 by William Bonney, aka Billy the Kid, during the escape from the Lincoln County Jail. So if you guys are into Billy the Kid stuff, this is where the sheriff was buried. Pretty crazy. Not just a movie. A lot of those things were real happenings. So there's one. We got another one we're going to chase down. See if I can find it. I think it might be down here, I'm not sure. So the next one will be the Susan McSweeney Barber. You remember the lawyer in the movie? Well, this was his wife. So, pretty cool. So those are the two that I found in here that were from the movie. young guns. So yeah, that stuff all happened out here. Billy the Kid would frequent White Oaks, which is just right over there. And we'll go through there in a little bit and visit some of the historical places. But that's a little bit of the cemetery. It's in a beautiful setting, as you can see here, nestled in the mountains. All right.